If you have Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV, HBO Max, turns out they don't actually help you unwind. It's actually numbing your creativity. And it took me a long time to realize that. So, this video is going to talk all about the things that actually do fuel your creativity, and why I think you should actually pause all of your subscriptions for a month. This is something that I talk about more in depth in the Creative Reset. You can check out mycreativereset.com. And yeah, let's go deep and let's talk. First off, thank you for those that are sharing in my DMs, emails, messages that you are taking me on your walk and I'm cooking with you in the kitchen. You're getting ready with me, like you're watching these videos while you're doing everyday things, which feels really intimate and cool. And the purpose of this 30-day, or I guess 31-day sprint on YouTube is to really push myself to build my creative muscle. And I promise you, the first thing that I said is no more Netflix, no more anything. And Stefan and we were starting to get into like, okay, let's try this series. There was one, I almost don't want to share it because I don't want y'all to go watch it because then you wouldn't unsubscribe or pause your subscription, but I'm going to share it anyway. It's called The Four Seasons on Netflix. It was so well written. Of course, it has Steve Carell, who's one of my favorite actors. But the premise of that series, and it was like a limited series, very bingeable, but it touched on, oh my good, there's so much nuance. There's like power struggle, there's relationship struggle, there's marriage, parenting, love, jealousy, very human things. It was just and I love that everyone that was casted was like 40 plus, 50 plus. Like I love a mature cast. I think sometimes Netflix tends to push, there's a lot of like hypersexualized series that have been started, but I just see a lot of like young naked bodies on my Netflix dashboard. And I'm like, what is this? So I can appreciate wholesome content, especially if there's like depth. Okay. So let's talk about the first thing or the first time I really implemented this unsubscription. And we'll also talk about, just why when you consume, you're not actually spurring your creativity. So Brennan Burchard, I feel like I'm going to reference him a few times. He was like my first mentor that really understood the power of my personal brand and what I could be. And he said that his mentor, my mentor's mentor, told him, well, he called him up one day and he said, he had a bad sales weekend, sales were slow, business was just, things weren't going well. And so everyone knows what that feeling is. And so close to quitting, so close to feeling like, this is hopeless. What is the point? Where is any of this going? Calls his mentor up, and his mentor's like, book tickets. And he was like, what? Like, you're this multimillionaire. Like, what do you mean booked? Like, give me the real advice. Give me the good stuff. What do you mean book tickets? And he's like, no, yeah, book tickets. Baseball game, like get the newspaper back then. It was, newspaper, but open up the newspaper and see what's happening in town. A festival, a baseball game, a live band. Go watch a busker on the street. Do something to get in a room full of fanatics, and it reminds you of the power of creative expression. And I will never forget that. I feel like it's been 7 or 8 years since he first shared that, or since I first heard it, and it has stuck with me so deeply. And you might think that watching your favorite series is getting tickets to something, but it's actually keeping you numb. And yeah, it's not doing what you think it is. So let's talk about three events that happened this year that really showed me power, possibility, and potential. So the first one, let's go in order of power. Watching Beyonce again. I have now seen her perform live 3 times. That feels already like such a privilege because I feel like the only other performer that can compare to the level of, oh, I don't even want to say this. Let me not even attract a different demographic of YouTube trolls. Listen, I'm new to the YouTube trolls, so I just want to stay in my lane. But I was gonna say Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, like he- his fandom, his fan base was just, I don't know that anyone will ever touch what Michael Jackson was able to do. And you think about um, music options and music outlets and distribution channels. You had radio and mixed CDs and then concerts. So it was just a different time back then. But yeah, MJ really, he holds the crown in just the power of bringing people together. And every time I see Beyonce live, I'm always reminded of, my goodness, it's the most powerful feeling when you can bring people from all around the world. So this year I saw her in London. This is my second time seeing her in London now that I think about it. The first tour I saw was her self-titled one in London. That was what, 12 years ago? It was a minute ago. Okay, so unmedicated Glow is going to take a sip of tea. She's going to breathe so y'all can get the. Today was a late film day. I had a lot to do. I had to get a massage, and that pushed my schedule back. Um, but the power of getting people who their first language is not English. And so you're hearing all of these beautiful accents singing the same words, and it creates this symphony, a cacophony of sounds that are just so beautiful. And it is such a powerful feeling to know that you can unify people through music and melody. So every time I see her live or see her perform, I just walk away feeling like I have the power to do anything I want. Anything. Like I just level up my thinking, my dreaming. Like it's just really, yeah. It just, I don't know if who else have I seen live that compares to Beyonce's in a lane of her own. She's really just, yeah. I haven't seen Coldplay live yet, and I feel like they already were hard to get in the past. I feel like with the recent drama, it's even harder to get tickets. Okay, and now let's talk about the event that I went to that showed me possibility. Mel Robbins. Shout out to my girl. Went to see her in London as well. And that was such a well run and well executed event. And what I loved hearing backstage is like, as she sold out, I mean, she did, I think, 6 city stops in the US and then London. And just seeing how every show you evolve and adapt the idea just a little bit more. And you have to imagine that Beyonce did the same thing. When you put something out there, it's almost like your first iteration, like a first draft. And sometimes we think that our final draft needs to be the first thing that people see. And so we hoard the ideas and the brilliance because I need the final draft. And you have this incredible vision of what you want the product to look like and what you want it to be. But the person that is on the other side has no idea what your vision is. So your first draft that you're hoarding and feeling isn't enough is actually like, it's probably better than what they expect. And so you have to be mindful that you are separating your final draft from your first draft. Because when you put the first draft out there, you can get the feedback to make the final draft exactly what you want. And sometimes we have such lofty goals that the final draft is 5 years away. And if you're not willing to put the first draft out to continue to iterate over the next 5 years, you will never be this version of whoever you're trying to become. And I think about, I mean, I've had a YouTube channel for almost 12 years. I mean, half of those years I probably wasn't posting, but imagine I didn't start a YouTube channel all those years ago. Imagine I'm starting a YouTube channel just this year. And now I'm having to overcome my fear of speaking on camera and getting the script and blah, blah, blah. It's a lot. It's a lot. And again, I've never archived a video. I've never archived content on any platforms except Facebook because back in college, you would have a 200 photo album, 200 picture photo album of a single night. What was that? I would have lyrics as the photo album title. Like those just yeah. So that's all that I've archived, but my digital footprint is long. I've kept everything up because I want people to see the reps that I've put in and the longevity of um, my career. Because I love this. I don't want to stop this. And I actually I had a friend reach out. She was like, Glow, you're on fire. You're putting out so much stuff. And like, I'm glad to hear that you feel rested because I would never think that you rest. And I think that's like also kind of a flex because I have a very balanced life. And by the way that I schedule my content and the way that I create my content and batch my content and like take time off. Like I have such a cycle that's so, it feels like a well-oiled machine. And I think it's kind of cool that I can give off the perception that all I do is work when the reality is I work maybe 3 days a week if I feel like it, but usually 2 days a week. I'm like on camera, available. But I don't consider if I'm tweeting something, I don't consider that work. And I'm like, I'm just out living my life. The other day I went on like a 3 hour walk, just living life and talked to a stranger, practiced my Bosnian. It was really nice. Just kind of skedaddle. And when Stefan and I were in Montenegro last month, like we had a full like date day where we just did whatever we wanted. And you would never think, and we have a community, a private app, and he had scheduled the post that he wanted to go live in the app for that week. And it's like we could just be present with each other. And so there are tools out there that can free up your time, but if you have cycles where maybe you are more productive at night, make sure you're doing extra work at night so that the following day you can like rest your brain. Okay, a little bit of a tangent, but let me know if you want me to do a full video on just like behind the scenes of like scheduling and how I manage that. But the possibility when I saw Mel Robbins um, just brilliantly, beautifully I mean, unapologetically own the stage. And her community is literally, this is why it's so important to be you, be all of you, your quirks, your randomness, your weirdness. Like, don't be afraid to show it because any single person in the audience that you looked at, you could see a little bit of Mel Robbins in them. And one of like the kindest things someone actually recently said, Selena, I'll shout you out, but she was like, Glow, the Life Leap community, she's like, it's a bunch of mini glows. She's like, everyone is so kind and generous. It's like a bunch of mini glows in the community. And I was like, that is the coolest compliment because I want to attract people who are a reflection of my values and of my character. And so Mel, she's built this personal brand off of authenticity and just putting yourself out there and going for it and owning your story and not being ashamed of what you've overcome or what you've been through. So yeah, it was super dope. I plan to literally, support her, buy a ticket. And she texted me, she's like, excuse me, you have the friends and family pass. See you backstage. Like, girl, that's the thing. When you have, I'll call her famous. Probably, I have like a dozen famous friends. I don't know, B and A-lister, whatever. Millions of followers. All of them have millions of followers online. And I never assume my position in their life because I can't imagine all the people that are trying to mooch and leech off of them. So I never ask for anything. I'm always, happy to support because at the end of the day, they've got teams, they've got, I'm not, yeah, I just get it. And I don't want to be that person because I'm sure they have to ward off enough of those kinds of people. And um, yeah, the beautiful thing about not, how do I say this? Because I don't need them for, I'm talking about like my famous friends. I don't need or use them for anything. It makes them so generous with everything. And I didn't realize, I'm like, oh wow, this is really cool. And I think there's a couple things I want to say about that because I want to make sure I word it correctly. It's not that I took pride in being easygoing and not having any needs. Like if I have an ask, I will ask. And I am really proud of how bold I've become in the last year. I think since my diagnosis of like just stating my needs. This is what I need. This is my expectation, all that stuff. But yeah, I I think the next best position, if you are someone that doesn't want to be famous, I feel you, me neither. I want to get to a point where my work speaks louder than me. I want people to recognize my work more and faster than they recognize my face. It's even why there was a season back in 2023, I believe, where I completely removed my like likeness and image from my branding and my Instagram posts. I made my whole content and my whole feed just like words. I was trying to like, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be the face of the brand and I want my words to speak louder than me. And so I started hiding behind my words and it worked. Like my posts were picking up traction, lots of posts went viral, like my words were being known. And then I'll never forget, I'm gonna shout her out, Vanessa Lau. She's super dope. Check her out on YouTube if you don't know who she is. But we were at a like friends mastermind, and that'll be the next thing. That's what shows you your potential. We were at a friends mastermind, and she was like, "Where's the colorful glow?" Like she's like, I liked your feed before. And I could definitely relate to what she was saying. It was like I was trying to create some distance from my audience because I wasn't in a season where it felt safe to be vulnerable. I think there were so many things happening, maybe in my personal life that just felt chaotic. And so when we talk about vulnerability and lead, leading with story, but also protecting your privacy, I wanted to make sure that there was still a level of respect that was maintained for my community and myself. And you see someone like Tabitha Brown, who's also an incredible example of someone who can show you possibility, like Mel Robbins. um, there have been a couple things that she's like announced or said, and people, you would think that she punted a newborn. I was appalled. I ever used that word before. I was appalled. What dictionary am I reading from? I was appalled. I was appalled that the way this woman is given so much, continues to give so much, is so kind, is a burst of positivity on your feed every single day, relentlessly joyful, sunshine personified. My goodness, she is God's favorite. Okay. Listen. And so when I saw how quickly people were coming for her just off of an opinion, it was really disheartening. So I was like, y'all not gonna get me. I'm a separate, hide behind my words and these gradients. Y'all not gonna see my face for months. And I needed that season because I was able to heal offline and I was able to create some space for myself to emote, process, and share in a way that felt safe. So I wanted to also give you that permission. I know I'm pushing for people to show up on camera and share their story and speak. Yeah, just speak in real time. I do want to honor those of you who feel like you're in a deeply tumultuous season where yeah, showing up on camera just doesn't make sense. So, Mel, tons of possibility. Really cool to see the entire production, the directors, like the creative concepts that are brought to life and just how every detail was really thought out. And of course, there were emotional moments where, the whole theater was in tears because it was so beautifully done, where you're bringing even the sound design and the lighting, how it comes together to draw in a moment. And uh, the room goes black and there's just a couple words on the screen in white text. It's so captivating. And I'm like, yes, yes, like, yes, this is possible. This is possible. Give me 10 years. I still like my intimate retreats and events, but give me 10 years and I'll be selling out theaters around the world, baby. Okay. And then last, you have your potential. So power from Beyonce, possibility from Mel Robbins, potential from your inner circle, your people, the friends that don't just celebrate you, but they dream with you. You can come to them with an idea and you know it won't be shot down because they get it. And even if it's not about not having like constructive feedback or criticism, but understanding that most of your family and friends do not get you. If you feel like you've been wired for different, you live an unorthodox life, you have always gone against the grain, you are the black sheep of the family, me. Okay, it's very easy to feel misunderstood constantly and to be tired of explaining yourself. So, yeah, I would do like 3 or 4 inner circle masterminds a year and just take different groups of friends and just bring them together. And I think there was one year where it was so, I don't know how I pulled this off, but I created a community. And when I say community, like 4 to 5 women or people, sometimes it was co-ed. I had like a YouTube mastermind, then a podcast mastermind, then a course creator mastermind, and then I don't know, was it like a brand deal mastermind? And so at any given moment, it's like I can decide, oh, what do I want to be filled by or fueled with, this season? What do I need in my life? And I think it's important because I think every group of friends has like, I don't want to call it like it's not a ringleader, but it's a person that like the hosting friend, the friend that like is saying, "Hey y'all, block your dates. Hey y'all, it's happening. Hey y'all, we'll start the group chat." It takes one person to like be proactive, and it's not always easy. It's definitely not always easy, but it's like it's always worth it. And I think when you bring like-minded people together to reflect each other's potential, it just normalizes your existence. And it's so much more fulfilling than any binge of a series could do. Okay, so 3 lessons. Number one, consumption is killing your creativity. And even if you think, oh, I'm going to watch this documentary because it's going to inspire me, the action of you sitting there and just being dumped on. Like I want you to visualize yourself like however you watch TV, you're on the couch and you're just sitting there and you're just watching and reading the captions because we're of a certain age and now we need words on the screen to hear the volume. And then I want you to picture yourself when you're in a really like deep flow state and you're just creating. You're typing, you're brainstorming, you're with ChatGPT, ideating. Like look at your body language. The it's almost manic. So exciting. It's the best. It's my favorite. I don't need drugs. Okay. Give me flow state any day of the week. Give me heavy doses of flow state, and I will be a happy and fulfilled and ecstatic, literal ecstatic woman. Yeah. So your body is actively a part of the process of creating. When you're consuming, your body is it's it's probably looking a little deflated. Your eyes are just yeah, it just I don't know how else to describe it, but the visual is in itself not yeah, it's just water glow. I would share the time, but I don't want y'all to judge me. So But even if you're not, going to a massive concert or event, you can do karaoke. You can, yeah, just walk to the park. Like it doesn't have to be tickets to massive events. It's the museum, it's a jazz, I don't know, jazz band, something like that. Okay. So pause all of your subscriptions this month. And by the end of this month, you will not recognize yourself. First off, hello, you probably just saved $100. I don't know how I don't know the cost these days, but pause the subscriptions for a month. You can always come back. I'm not telling you to be a monk and live on a mountain. Have seasons where your momentum has no choice but to build on itself because you are creating an environment that is conducive for your creativity to flourish. That was a great sentence. I wish I remember how I said it. Okay. Passive entertainment is really distracting. And you can't build like a meaningful creative practice when you're numbing your ideas every night before the ideas can even form. So know that your most creative thoughts and ideas need space, stillness, and silence. So even if it means, I don't know, whether it's your living room or your bedroom or even your closet, or your office. Create like a nook or a corner, like romanticize your creative corner so that you're actually knowing that you're going there to be creative, to do something different, to activate your brain. And yeah, I think that'll be good. Okay, second thing is when you're replacing TV with tickets, for example, a comedy club, one live experience will activate more of your brain than 6 hours of a binge watch. Because what happens is you get new stimulation, which leads to new stories, which fuels new content, and it keeps on repeating indefinitely. And so much of my creativity, the reason why you will likely never find someone like me, respectfully. The reason I feel one of one is because so much of who I am was shaped by 100 countries of travel. So for someone to get my perspective and just nuance, stories, depth, experiences, all these journeys that I've overcome, and then add almost 25 years of digital tech creator entrepreneurial experience on top of that, that's a really hard collision to try to duplicate. So all you can do, like you can't pay for the time that I've invested in the reps that I've put in. You can learn from me, mycreativereset.com, but you can't duplicate someone who's done this for decades. And so a lot of how I share and how I show up comes from my lived experiences. I could easily walk outside for 10 minutes and come back with 30 new pieces of content. It's not, I can't even tell you, like, okay, I'm going to look for a flower and then look at a tree and then look at the sky. And then it doesn't work like that. My brain is wired to spot connection and draw patterns. And again, ADHD, it's a beautiful superpower. We draw patterns, we form connections, we make metaphors, we speak in analogies. Figurative language is a second language. And so it just makes it so much easier for me to relay my experiences online because in my brain, I'm tap dancing with stories all day. And so I'm so overwhelmed and exhausted by my own stories. I need to share it because it's just taking up space. Okay, and number three, your creative discovery and discovery/recovery. Let's say this. Your creative recovery is literally a decision away. You could watch this and say, nah, Glow, I'm in the middle of uh, what's on right now? Love Island. I couldn't even tell you about Love Island. I had to miss all of that, mostly because Peacock doesn't really exist in Europe. I don't know. If you know something, drop it in the comments and let me know because I've been struggling and I allowed myself to miss that boat. However, Love is Blind, I don't miss. Anyways, um, if you could be watching this and be like, no, I'm in the middle of a season, I can't. Okay, let me, I don't know. I I know the excuses you are probably forming, but trust me, if you decide you are no longer going to numb your brain with consumption, you will be a completely different person in 30 days. And I mean, if you want that, I'm giving you a step. Okay. So if you don't want it bad enough, keep the subscriptions. I will not hold you. I will not force you to do anything. I will always invite you into the tactics and tools that have worked for me. And I also want you to set a create before you consume rule when it comes to social media scrolling. So if you naturally open up Instagram, maybe first thing in the morning, I want you to have created something, like earn your scroll. If you are opening up Instagram, you better be posting something. I want you to post and then scroll. It is so much more gratifying because what happens if you do the opposite, you open up Instagram, you scroll. Oh, wow, they're so great. They're so creative. They're so hot. They're so in shape. Oh, what a nice vacation. Oh, a baby. Congratulations. Oh, they're married, engaged. You're seeing all these updates, all this clutter. And now let's say you're, I don't know, what is this? Okay, let's say you had I need something. Let's say this is your idea, and this is the stream of everyone else's content, and it's literally coming in your brain, and it's now saying it literally all you can see now on the screen is just this one remote. Everyone else's content has clouded your brain, and so now your idea is kind of like it's suppressed. And now it's no longer fun or creative, and you've lost the motivation, and you don't even feel like posting. And so another day goes by, and then another week, and then another month, and oh look, you haven't posted for a year. How it always happens, okay? So I really want you to take this as a serious invitation to start choosing different. And congratulations, because you have just completed day 3. This is part of the creative reset, and I'll be sharing the first month of this like 90-day guide for free so that you can go along with me. But if you want access to the full program, and each day has tools, tips, quotes, affirmations to rewire your money mindset, you could check mycreativereset.com. It is at the link in the product description. And I'm really enjoying the feedback so far. I am loving how you all are taking immediate action. And yeah, overall, like I I want you to win, but you got to want it more than I do. Okay? You got to want it for yourself more than I want it for you. That's all I got. Sorry, it was a little rough. I'm fighting through, and it's only day 4. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Bye.